There's the big one. What do you wish you knew before your divorce? Welcome, guys. It's Ryan on the Mids Watch. We're coming near the end. You know the deal. This one is nice because it's kind of like it's got some generic to it because a lot of guys are very worried about divorce to the point that they're actually willing to sabotage their own, their own well-being. So it's good that we kind of got into this little conversation and guys sharing their experience, but at the same time, dispel a lot of the myths and rumors that you're hearing from the Longhouse. I'll just start it off. So it's like Cool Beans, number 24. He's like, I've been married 13 years, 2 kids, they're 12 and 13. Me and my girl met in college, finished my bachelor, she's got an associate's degree, she's always worked part-time jobs, refused to go back to school. So as a result, I'm working 2 jobs, started 2 small businesses to compensate for her laziness. Paid off the debt, except for the house. I only owe another $100,000 and it's worth $150,000. We got $10,000 in emergency funds, $15,000 in our retirement. I make $70,000 a year. She's making $25,000 until she screwed her boss's granddaughter over and got fired. She didn't work at all last year, but just got a $22,000 a year job a week ago. I didn't divorce her a year ago because I just bought a house and I wasn't ready. Now she's working and I have my head on properly. I started tackling how much time I spend with the boys compared to her. I'm basically the primary caregiver and the primary breadwinner. Basically, the woman's a dud. Here's the problem. I live in Illinois, and the calculators I've found online will still owe her about $1,000 a month for 6 years and $1,100 in alimony for another 8. Basically, I think I'll be punished 3 times over for being productive. I worked 7 days a week for months, rarely taking a day off, and I fear she'll get the kids because of this, and I'll be expected to continue the same level of output after the divorce as I put in before the divorce, so she'll basically be double dipping on me in a way that I'm enslaved to her, and soon I may be working 7 days a week alone and unable to be my dad or for my kids and what they deserve. So how did your alimony work out? Is it negotiable? Can I get the kids 50-50? Give me your thoughts. I'm outgunned and I'm about to get divorce raped and then shackled. Jack chimes in. I got some good things for you after this one too. Jack chimes in. Hey, divorce guy here. So I Googled Illinois divorce law, and this makes no sense. Apparently, Illinois standardized alimony calculations in 2015, and here's the example I saw. Okay, so assume an ex-husband grosses $50,000 a year, the wife earns $30,000, therefore the husband only owes the wife $2,000 per year under the formula. For example, marriage lasted 5 years, the maintenance award would continue for 20% of that span for 1 year. And he has a link to it. You can go check it out if you want, and if I remember, I will put a link to this in the description if you're in the Illinois area and you hate your bitch ex-wife. So yeah, that's child support, except for in the same link, Covington noted that the law makes the following changes in addition. Specifies that judges must subtract maintenance payments from the payer's income for the purposes of calculating child support. So whatever you have to pay in alimony, you'll have to pay her proportionally less in child support anyway, but who knows? I'm not a lawyer, I'm just some ass that spent 30 seconds reading a web page that came when I Googled up Illinois divorce law alimony. I'm copy-pasting all of that and saying, take a breath, calm down. Financially, your divorce will be an enema, not an ass rape.
One of the guys who ran the Red Pill channel sent me a message. I actually appreciate that you took it from an idea-based perspective instead of ever resorting to personal attack. Like, if this movement is actually going to be dangerous, do we need to understand it so that we can take it down? I knew going into it that this might be a hot mess. I'm not going to have those guys back on my channel again. Absolutely not.
Ugly, uncomfortable, unpleasant, something you wish you didn't have to go through and wish you can get over with as quickly as possible, but unlikely to financially scar you permanently. And afterwards, you're gonna feel a lot better. It's just money, dude. You seem responsible, and it sounds like you've really grinded at your professional life to get where you are. You should absolutely get the best financial and custodial outcome for yourself. But I am just saying, this will be an annoyance over the long run, and you'll be probably alternatively seized with anxiety or resentment. Take a breath, keep calm, talk to your lawyer, and remember, it's just money, dude. You made it before, you can make it again. Yes, if you get better custody, showing that you can supervise, have arguments and arrangements for supervision, daycare, parents, whatever, you'll get 50% custody most likely. It's not the 1970s. Judges don't care about vaginas. Men typically get less custody on average because they can't actually make arrangements to supervise their kids for the custody. They don't actually want much custody. You know, my son lives with me when he's off from school in the summer, lives with mom during the school year, etc. They're beta losers who let their ex-wives guilt trip them into a bullshit agreement, or they disputed their separation agreement all the way to a court hearing, but the guy did not get appropriate legal counsel and the judge ruled on his wife's proposed agreement by default. Seriously, you will not get fucked if you don't let yourself get fucked. Remember that. He's like, I get it. I get what you're trying to do. Trying to avoid you and your wife hiring lawyers that will encourage you to endlessly litigate your assets to zero, but based on general negotiation theory, that's not a good idea. Submitting something for mediation means you're going to have to pre-compromise. Submitting something with compromises in it that you've anticipated but may not be required, so you'll be negotiating against yourself first, then negotiating in mediation. My ex-wife and I retained our own lawyers, which cost more in the short run, but actually resulted in a cleaner arrangement. In my opinion, you'll see her proposal and she'll see yours and you'll both go, yeah, no way. And then start horse trading. Shit like who gets to declare the kids as a tax deduction, for example. And the guy's asking, like, can I trade assets to avoid alimony? And this seems like something you're eager to do. She may in turn be eager for that trade. Women are short-sighted that way, so taking money now is better than more money in the future. You may also seem eager to reduce reoccurring payments, so in other words, you could offer that. Equity in the house in return for something that reduces your payments. If you go to mediation, this negotiation may not happen. You may have stupidly pre-compromised that you'll split the equity in the house, and since that sounds cosmetically fair, any more negative or creative negotiation opportunities are lost. Negotiations aren't necessarily zero-sum. If I have a $20 gift card to Starbucks and I hate coffee, and you have a $15 in cash, we can trade and we both won, right? I valued cash, you valued Starbucks, you both come up with your own separation proposals, bring those opportunities to the forefront because it'll make you both think about what you actually want versus what you're okay with letting up. So if you communicate with your lawyers in an organized and consistent manner, then you won't end up with huge legal bills, and seriously, it's not that much money at stake, and any lawyer is going to try to psychologically manipulate you to drive up more legal bills? Probably not. They just want this streamlined as much as you do because they can get a new client in the time that they're not fiddling with you over an extra $100 here and there. So again, not a lawyer, not legal advice, but this is the most moderate opinion you'll get in any subreddit about divorce, which means on the long term, log off Reddit, focus on getting your legal advice, and stop whining about the legal system, flavoring women, and all that MRA bullshit. Remember, you will not get yourself fucked if you don't let yourself get fucked. If you only want a 30-second enema instead of a 10-year-long prison ass raping, then that's within your control, so get off Reddit, don't get fucked, and best of luck. Now, since then, we have come leaps and bounds within the red pill space. We actually have a Better Betas Divorce Guide, which goes over a lot of, it's not legal advice, it's legal strategy, and the idea, like little things. For example, when you go to your lawyer, don't just dump your marriage on his lap and say, what do I get? Because he'll just give you whatever the statute says. You show him, I want this, I want this, I want this. Now, what do I have to do to be most likely to get there? And then you guys work on a strategy together. And then once he's told you, like, what's reasonable, what's unreasonable, and what is reasonable but you'll have to make changes, that's when you decide what you really want. And I'll give you a great example. One of my first clients, when I was still doing the consulting, he was talking about divorce, and he just assumed, because, you know, all men are supposed to love their kids, I should be fighting for custody, right? And he wanted to be at this big legal battle. He's like, all right, this, that, and the other thing. And I knew he was military, so I already know, flat out. I'll tell you right now, sir, the judge will say, while you're in the military, you have if you're employable, you're deployable. So at any point you could be deployed, which means the courts will not give you custody at all. So you have to make a choice right now. If you want custody, you're going to have to leave the military. And he was a surgeon, I believe. Just got to lieutenant commanders, doing very well for himself. I'm like, you have to make a choice. Do you want your career or do you want custody? And I explained how most of your relationship with your kids is as they're adults. Being 100% dad 50% of the time is better than a 50% dad 100% of the time. If you leave the military, will you end up presenting your kids for that sacrifice? Like all these things. And I'm like, look, I have no judgment. I don't care what your decision is, but I'm going to make you stick to it. And then he's like, you know what? I've worked 20 years to get where I am. I'm going to stick with the career. And I'm like, that's fine. So here's the great thing. Now you can just negotiate with that. Your wife wants custody. That's fine. And she had a new boyfriend now, the guy she had slept around with. So that's fine. So you make a trade-off. You know, you could take custody, no child support, you know, all the things. And he basically negotiated all of these things that most guys don't get in a divorce because he had that thing in his shoulder anyway. Girls always want that full custody. And all he wanted was like full visitation, help with college and that, but no spousal support. And she had a new boyfriend. She was great. So he gave up the thing that he wasn't willing to have anyway for the thing that she wanted. And he got exactly what he wanted out of it otherwise. But he had to know what he wanted. He had to know how to get there, and he had to be a little Machiavellian. So from the Red Pill, it's actually kind of nice. This is why I like this space more than like the men's rights guys or the MGTOW guys or all these other goofballs out there, because they're just doom and gloom. Meanwhile, in the Red Pill, it's all about finding a path to success, navigating the environment, and in at least 2 cases now, this guy and my guy absolutely thrived. And I think the last time I talked to the guy, it was funny because he had wanted to get his new place. He's I'm going to buy a condo right by the bars, downtown, bachelor pad, absolutely great, and an extra bedroom for my kid. And you know what the funniest part was? Without custody, kid still came to visit him all the time. So even without legal custody, he still got to see his daughter whenever. It's never as bad as you think. It can actually sometimes be a lot better. But I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.